All right. Good evening, everyone. Are we ready, Ms. Fenton-Newman?
Yes, we are, Mayor.
Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order with a statement of proper notice. Notice of this meeting has been posted on the municipal bulletin board and forwarded to the Hopewell Valley News, the Trentonian, and the Hopewell Express on January 6th, 2025, in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975. Roll call, please.
Committee Member Kaczynski is absent. Committee Member Pirandari.
Here.
Committee Member Ruder.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Chape.
Here.
And Mayor Peters Manning.
Here. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, we do have a presentation next on the agenda, but if you'll all bear with me, I think I'm going to move the two proclamations that we have to before the presentation, as we have people in the audience for the proclamations, and we're with as a courtesy to them. So we'll start tonight with a proclamation honoring the 5th anniversary of the Hopewell Valley Mobile Food Pantry. It's hard to believe it's been that long. It started during the COVID-19 pandemic, but Ms. Pirandari was a long-time volunteer, so we'll let her kick things off.
Thank you. Whereas the Hopewell Valley Mobile Food Pantry has been a beacon of hope and support in our community, tirelessly working to combat food insecurity and ensure that no neighbor goes hungry. And
whereas for the past 5 years, this organization has provided nutritious food, resources, and compassionate service to individuals and families in need, fostering a stronger, healthier, and more united community. And
whereas the dedicated volunteers, donors, and partners of Hopewell Valley Mobile Food Pantry have demonstrated unwavering generosity, kindness, and commitment, making a profound impact on the lives of countless residents. And whereas through innovative programs, partnerships, and outreach programs, Hopewell Valley Mobile Food Pantry has not only addressed immediate hunger needs, but also raised awareness that even in our affluent community, our neighbors in need are worthy of our compassion and support. And
whereas this milestone anniversary is an opportunity to celebrate the achievements of Hopewell Valley Mobile Food Pantry, recognize the dedication of those who serve, and renew our collective commitment to fighting hunger in our community. Now, therefore, I, Courtney Peters Manning, Mayor, do hereby proclaim March 17th, 2025 as Hopewell Valley Mobile Food Pantry Day in Hopewell Township, and encourage all residents to honor and support the vital work of this outstanding organization. Thank you very much. We'll give them a round of applause. And I know we have Mr. Joe Lavra here. If you'd like to say something, you're welcome to.
Thank you, Mayor Peters Manning, and thank you, Council. Appreciate it. I just want to say I've been involved in and around Hopewell Valley and Pennington for 20 years, and I can honestly say being involved with the Hopewell Valley Mobile Food Pantry is the single most unifying experience that I've seen in this community. The outpouring support that we've had from day one, and that continues today with strong alliances with the Hopewell Valley Regional School District, the YMCA, Pennington Market, the 3 municipalities. It's really, and individuals throughout the community has been tremendous. I'd like to say that the end is in sight, but when we started this 5 years ago, we had 35 families that we were serving each week. Last week we did 235 families. So we are in a position now where we are trying to set ourselves up basically so that we'll be here for the long run. And so your continued support is important. I would like to invite everyone to come to our open house. We're holding an open house at the pantry, which is in the School Board Administration Building. It'll be on Sunday, April 13th from 11 to 2. So please do come by, see how we work firsthand, and see how you can get more involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have your proclamation for you. You want to come down and take a picture? right, next, we have one more proclamation. A proclamation honoring Blanche and Albert Z. Siegel. Mr. Ruger will start us off for this one.
Whereas Blanche and Albert Siegel, lifelong residents of Mercer County, have exemplified a life dedicated to family, community service, and unwavering commitment to the betterment of society. And whereas Blanche and Albert, affectionately known as Al or Booney, met as teenagers in Trenton, New Jersey, and forged a bond that has endured for nearly 8 decades, marrying in June 1948. And whereas Blanche has been a devoted wife, mother, and aunt, leaving an indelible mark on her community through her tireless volunteerism, including founding Helping Hands in 4 Seasons, serving as president of Pioneer Women in Trenton Chapter Hadassah, and holding leadership positions in numerous civic organizations. And
whereas Blanche's dedication to service has been recognized with the Heart of Gold Award by Mission Kindness International, Inc., and she was lauded by former Trenton Mayor Arthur Holland as a full-time committed professional volunteer. And whereas Albert, a World War II veteran, bravely served in the 286th Engineer Combat Battalion, participating in the Battle of the Bulge and earning 2 battle stars for his service in the Rhineland and Central Europe, achieving the rank of Master Sergeant at the age of 20. And whereas after his military service, Albert pursued his engineering degree at the University of Pennsylvania and embarked on a distinguished career, retiring as Director of All States Design and Development Company, Inc., and
Whereas Albert has been a pillar of his community, serving on the Trenton Zoning Board of Adjustment, advisory committee of the Mercer County Improvement Authority, leading the campaign to honor Raoul Wellenberg, and holding leadership positions in numerous civic and religious organizations, including the Glen Afton Civic Association and Adat Israel Synagogue. And whereas Albert's contributions have been recognized with numerous awards and accolades, including Senior Volunteer Award from Delaware Valley United Way, a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Trenton Council of Civic Association, and the Heart of Gold Award for volunteerism, along with military service medals from Mercer County and the state of New Jersey. And
whereas in 1999, Blanche and Albert made their home in Hopewell Township, moving to 4 Seasons in Pennington, Hopewell Township, where they have continued to be active members of the community, participating in various committees and cherishing their neighbors. And whereas in 2025, Albert will celebrate his 100th birthday, and Blanche will celebrate her 99th, and they will mark their 77th wedding anniversary in June, a testament to their enduring love and commitment. And whereas the Hopewell Township Committee recognizes and celebrates the extraordinary lives of Blanche and Albert Siegel, acknowledging their profound impact on our community and beyond. Thank you. Ms. Fenton Newman will give a copy of this to the speaker. All right, thank you everyone. Now we will go back and do our presentation. Tonight we have a presentation from the High Circle Cannabis Retail Store application. So if you'd like to come to the podium.
Good evening. Thank you for hearing us tonight. My name is John Mayer from the law firm of Stevens & Lee, here on behalf of High Circle LLC. High Circle is here this evening for a support resolution for a Class 5 cannabis retail dispensary located at 2566 Pennington Road at the Pennington Circle. Very shortly, I'm going to be turning things over to Mickey Weiss, their cannabis counsel, who's going to introduce the High Circle team and give an introduction to what they're proposing to do at the site. But in the event you do grant the support resolution, my office will be handling the eventual conditional use application and any other land use matters that come up. So in the event you have any land use questions relating to the property or how things will happen at the site, I will be happy to address those for you this evening. So without further ado, I'm going to hand things over to Mickey.
Yep. Okay. All right. So just Steve, do we have to? That's the broadcast to the television. If we're on Zoom, do we need to wait for her to reboot? We should. We should. Okay. So just everybody will take a 5-minute recess while we deal with the technology problem.
Do I get a take 2 if I need it?
Sure. We do have improving the technology in this room on our capital budget this year. Everybody should be aware.
There's a screen and there's a way to which is better than most municipalities in the state of New Jersey. That is very true. Don't bring your own computer. Amazing.
All right, we've gotten the all clear. Please, back to the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Mickey Weiss from the law firm of Mickey J. Weiss Law. I am here tonight on behalf of the Hopewell Circle, or the High Circle LLC, which is seeking to put a Class 5 cannabis retail license at 2566 Pennington Road. By way of background, the same ownership group or substantially similar ownership group was here previously under Jersey Meds, and they had received a resolution of support from you. We're here now again with substantially similar ownership group with Dali Lalchintiani and a couple Man Sharamani. Forgive me if I butchered the pronunciation. And they are also the majority owners of the High Circle. Everything pretty much from the last time we were here to now remains the same. Same location, same layout, same ownership, except for now these folks have more experience because they operate Jersey Meds a couple of miles down the street in another town. With that, I'd still like to bring up a couple of members of the team to explain a little bit more about the site and about the operations of the facility, and also Dolly will come up and speak to her connection to the town and her charitable give back to the community. First, couple. Yes.
There are members of the council who weren't here last time and maybe unfamiliar with what happened last time when there was a resolution of support. So you might want to just start from the beginning, or have your clients start from the beginning, because they're unfamiliar with the plan.
So yes, and of course, so we are also going to come up and present when I'm done. So Couple will come up and he's going to present a picture of the building, and also we have a video to walk through what the renderings of the site are going to look like interior. He's also going to go through the floor plan and walk through a customer transaction to the extent that you would like to hear how that is going to happen. Broad overview of cannabis I can also give, and how that sort of functions if you need it. So any questions that you may have, I'm happy to jump in and answer, or members of the team. For now though, I'll bring Couple up. He'll explain the layout. A couple of years ago, I think it was at this point, the resolution was awarded to Jersey Meds. I'm not sure exactly what was going on in terms of why they had to open up down the street instead of within Hopewell. But because they have opened up under Jersey Meds in another town, they are prohibited at the state level from opening up under the same company name, which is why we are here tonight requesting a resolution in a different entity's name so that we can comply with the state law and the current existing regulations of the state. Right, and the state, one company can only have one license. So here, this would be a second license, so it couldn't be owned under Jersey Meds.
So two things, just from my own recollection.
Sure.
To make sure you address. I think at the time the first resolution of support was made, there was
Steve,
not,
can you talk into the microphone?
at the time that the first resolution of support was approved, there was not another cannabis facility a close distance away. And I think also there may have been applications pending by Jersey Meds in both Pennington and in Hopewell, and there may have been they may have said something to the effect of, if they open in Pennington, they will not open in Hopewell. But that's to my recollection.
So I would say that,
then it should just address that.
yeah, I mean, I think your ordinance allows for 2 licenses. There's no distance requirement or buffers between dispensaries. Competition is good. It's good for the industry. It's good for the town. You are, as a town, you get 2% of the ratables, which are going to increase by additional dispensary coming in. It also creates local jobs, local revenue, and you keep that money in town. Products are expanding in the state, and so there's a significant variance between what one company will stock and sell versus what another company, even in close proximity, may sell. Again, different way of management style, operations. I think the access to this particular location, the High Circle is going to be at, is different traffic pattern around the circle. And so rather than having to travel all the way down to 95, if you're traveling one way, you can actually go around the circle and enter into the High Circle, which will provide more convenience for your local customers, and will keep them in town here rather than going elsewhere, right? Because it's going to be more convenient. And so with that, for now, I'll turn it over to Couple.
Can you show that video?
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. So I would like to show you some small clip, and then I can tell you more on details on that. So the clip you saw, it was much in details, and I can just give you the breakdown. So this location has over 20 parking spots for managed traffic control and customer flow. We plan to open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily. Customers can get their ID scanned upon entry by staff to verify they're 21 years old or over. Customer can then use our self-service kiosk or order at the counter. Before doing any transaction, we will check their ID once again to ensure the correct person is getting the order. All products will be secured in our designated vault area, which will have one staff member present at all time to fulfill the orders. No products on the sales floor are visible to anyone. When it comes to safety, multiple strategically placed cameras capable of recording all activity both inside and outside property. It will be over 30 cameras. It will also have 90-day surveillance archival, motion sensors at every door entrance, keyless entry system for every door entry, and multiple panic buttons which are connected to local police department along with 24/7 monitoring access. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dolly Lalchandani, and I'm a proud minority woman business owner here in Hopewell Township. I have spent 19 years investing in this community, not just through business, but through services. I currently run 5 local retail businesses and work closely with the organizations like Seva International and the Hopewell Food Pantry, because giving back is the heart of everything I do. Today, we have a unique opportunity. Cannabis is now legal, regulated industry that can bring tax revenue, jobs, and economic growth to our township, but only if done right. I believe this opportunity should go to a local trusted business like mine rather than an outside operator with no ties to our community. For me, this is more than just business. It's about building a legacy of community partnership. With this new venture, I will continue to support local organizations, expand training programs, and maintain open communications with township officials and residents. I ask for your support, not just for the business itself, but for the values behind it. Together, we can create a responsible community-focused cannabis operation that reflects the very best for Hopewell Township. Thank you.
With that, to the extent that there are any questions, I'll just play quarterback and call on the team to answer certain questions.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of questions. My sort of a threshold question is, we have a moratorium on new applications for cannabis applications in letters of support in Hopewell Township, so I'm not sure why we're even doing this. Yeah, yes, I guess. I understand that we were advised to listen to your presentation, but I don't see a reason why to lift that moratorium. We've given out now more letters of support than we had licenses to give, which I know at the beginning stages of the cannabis application process, and it was all new, and that is sort of how we did that, but maybe Mr. Goodell can help me understand.
Well, I think it's important if they made the application that you listen to it and that you keep an open mind. Recognize that you have a moratorium, but they sort of, I will say, got their foot in the door first. There are differences, though, between then and now. And so I think it's important to know whether that resolution of support, which I understand what they wanted to do originally was to renew that resolution of support, except under a different name. So I thought it was important for you to be able to hear why they believe that that resolution of support that they initially got should still be maintained.
Well, I think that's not
given new facts, the passage of time, and.
But they did start out saying that under state law, they're not allowed to hold two licenses under the same name. So it has to be a new application. It has to be, you said it's the same ownership, but it's not the same.
Substantially similar ownership,
Yeah.
almost, so 2/3 is identical, so 66+%, if not more, of the High Circle is the same ownership
What's the difference?
as Jersey Meds. And so since Jersey Meds had the other resolution, what we did was we requested to be able to come in and ask that you would rescind that resolution to Jersey Meds as a board and then issue a resolution to the High Circle, provided that you were comfortable with this applicant and the location. Because we were awarded under Jersey Meds at this location previously, we decided to come back and ask that we be awarded under this new company's name at the exact same location, and now just with this company and these operators having more experience because they've opened one up. And this is all permissible under state law, and it's up to you as a governing body whether or not you so choose to support the application. But since you do allow two, there's only one store open, we wanted to make the application because the time is right. My clients believe the time is right, that they would like to have another store. So that's why we're here.
I will open it up to my colleagues, but I just as a threshold issue, I think if we're going to listen to this application or consider a resolution of support, then we would need to reopen our process and allow for other applications too. But anyone else have questions? I don't want to dominate the whole thing.
I think just from a procedural, and your attorney can tell you too, there's no one way to do it. You are free to entertain our client's application and make a decision as to whether or not you are willing to support their application without having to open it up to other individuals.
I don't feel comfortable doing that, but maybe others would feel differently. So does anybody else have questions or anything like that?
I just had a question which gets to a little bit of the question on new versus same application and piece there. So I know this was touched on before, but if you could walk a little bit through the ownership structure change, as going back to that initial letter was a specific name, but also a specific ownership structure. As you said, there's been a 2/3 the same, 1/3 change. So is this, again, specific ownership was signed off on. So is new persons in, are people out? What does that change look like?
Who is Karin or Dolly? Who else is part of the High Circle who's not part of Jersey Meds?
And vice versa.
Hi. Yeah. So it's just Dolly Lalchandani, Kapil Lalchandani, Kapil Matrimani, and Shweta Lalchandani. The other two members that were on the initial application are not part of this new company.
So
What
it's
is
just,
that ownership percentage attributed to that is in Jersey Meds that's not on this one approximately? Is it 5%, is it 10%?
It's approximately, I would say, 20%?
Wow.
Yeah, approximately. But I can get you exact details if you so request. Yeah.
Okay.
So 80% of the ownership is the same, right? The only thing that's really changing is the entity name because of the state requirements. So you've got substantially similar ownership, just a different company name, so it's a different entity. And same location, same layout.
And the state allows you to just change the name is what
We
the
are
state
not chewing a
permits?
change of name. So this is a new entity. You had it before, but the ownership now under Senate Bill 4151, which was signed into law in September 2023 by the governor, I call it the expanded ownership rules, allows individuals or owners anywhere to invest and own up to 35% each in 7 women, minority, disabled, veteran-owned dispensaries. And so in this particular situation, it's minority-owned business, women-owned business, and so these owners are able to own another entity, right, in this situation. So, and it would have to be approved by the state. It's not like we can apply and not get a state license and open up.
So the reason they changed, though, was because the state law says what? You can't have two licenses in adjoining municipalities, or?
Two period in the state. So the Jersey Meds can't hold 2 Class 5 cannabis retail licenses, period.
Okay, and so I guess the legal technicality then is, to get around that, is to change 20% of the ownership?
Well, the governor signed a new law in September 23 that allows for investment and ownership up to 35% each in women, minority, disabled-owned businesses. So this is that type of business, and so we are in compliant with the law that was passed.
But your representation is that the ownership is substantially the same as it was
Correct.
before?
That is my representation.
So what is the relation, unless, Mr. Ruger, do you have any questions? I have one more question. What is the relationship to the holistic hub that is there now?
The landlord's the same, the ownership of,
I can-
yeah.
So the Holistic Hub is basically a CBD store. Nothing more than that. It's just, we are turning that into a Class 5.
But you own Holistic Hub?
Correct.
The same 3 owners?
Yes.
And then what about the relationship with Jersey Meds?
No, they are not the same. It's only me and Dolly Lalchandani.
Own the Holistic
Yes.
Hub? Because and so what do you sell at the Holistic Hub?
So basically, it's only CBD with less than 0.3% THC, which is, by law 2018 Farm Bill. You cannot sell more than 0.3% in that.
And there's no Delta 8 or Delta 9 products sold there?
No, Delta 9 with 0.3%. Okay, you cannot go higher than that one. And Delta 8, of course, there was, speculations on that one that was completely stopped selling on those ones.
So you don't sell
No.
anything other than?
No, correct.
Okay, CBD. What about food products with?
Food products, we sell beverages, which also 0.3% CBD drinks. Okay, we do have food license for that. We carrying that, and gummies, which is also 0.3% CBD gummies. We have food license overall for that too.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Ruger?
Thank you.
All right, so I want to take this on a slightly different path. Ma'am, you said that you want the very best for Hopewell Township, which is laudable and very much appreciated.
Thank you so much.
We want the very best for Hopewell Township too. And when we started down the path of cannabis, one of the things that I said was the last thing that I wanted was to drive down one of our roads and see 5 rainbow-colored joints standing like this going, keep on toking. I don't see, buzzed beer and wine. I don't see drunk liquors as local stores. Perhaps you could explain the name, High Circle?
Oh, the high circle? Okay.
Because the implication is fairly clear.
Yeah, I mean, sir, if the name is an issue, I mean, we can always, have flexibility on that. We could call it another name. the High Circle, THC, kind of a, if you will, play on words, but we're open to, changing the name if the perception, for some reason is not acceptable, then we're happy to comply, and like I said,
I
work
mean,
with the town.
it's not up to me to decide what the name is,
Sure.
but I do feel that it is a name that,
Yeah, and
again,
we're totally happy to change the name, and like I said, we want to be good partners of the community and create a safe space for cannabis. So we are absolutely open and willing to change the name if that's something brought up.
all right, thank you.
Are the products sold at the Holistic Hub legally allowed to be sold to people under 21?
We have never sold anything under 21.
And so I just,
It's
can you talk into the microphone?
Sorry. So it's always 20, that's the whole thing, that when we started, I used to have the gas station, we used to carry the vape products, and back in 2019, we didn't want to have any of the young youth come to the locations. That's when we said we are going to make this specific store have CBD, and even the smoke has to be 21. We do not entertain anybody in the store. They can't even enter the location if they're not 21.
So could you tell me a little bit about the procedures that you do to make sure that that happens?
So we have the state-of-the-art ID checker. So we have our intention was always like when it was like we wanted to make it like a cannabis location. So anybody who entered has to be 21. We have the ID checker, just like we do it in the cannabis store in Jersey Meds. And we have, when they enter, they have to show the ID. And once it's done, and when we do the transactions, again, we make sure they present the ID. So it's 21, nobody can enter the location if they're under.
Okay.
We stop them at the door to be all very specific. The moment they enter, they have to scan the ID. So we have an ID checker.
Okay.
From day one.
Any other questions? For Andre?
Respect your community surveys.
Thank you.
Sorry. Respect your community surveys, and the video that you showed about the security and all that, very well explained. Since I'm not familiar with the previous application and the resolution you got from us, was that also the application under the women's entrepreneurship, or?
Yes. Yes.
And I did hear that, those are all further points, but you said 20 parking spots and stuff, and all that is been handicap compliant and all, but again, as I said, that's a further, if we, I have a fundamental issue saying that since we really don't have any applications to give away right now, entertaining this would open the whole process again and go through being fair with every applicant or the party interested in applying. I am little hesitant to kind of go in that route, opening the whole application process again from the beginning, because we have spent a lot of time when we actually had the process going. So those are my explanations at this point, and I'll just let my colleagues have any further questions.
Thank you. David?
I just had one other question. I know when the ownership group for Jersey Meds was here a few years ago, there was, as was noted by presentation and our attorney, application or request for a letter of support was both here as well as Pennington Borough. And my question is for High Society, this company and organization, obviously there's an application and request right now in front of Hopewell Township. Do you have any other pending requests in front of any other municipalities at this time?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Not at all.
Okay, thank you. So we don't have, let's have this presentation on the agenda tonight. We don't have anything to vote on right now, so thank you. We'll take this under advisement and think about it. And
Anybody else in the audience?
I think I will do that when we get to public comment. So we will, there's a public comment. We have only very few things before we get to the public section, so I will do the whole public section together. So if anyone is from the public would like to speak on this, the public section is coming in just a minute.
Thank you for your
So
time.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So I don't believe we have any other items for our meeting agenda, Ms. Fenton Newman. And we'll move to committee member and staff reports, starting with Mr. Snyder.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and committee members. Initially, I didn't have anything to report, but I have two topics I will bring up. Joy has started conversations with IT about a new computer. So I just wanted to let you know that is in progress. And we'll continue looking into that and getting a new computer. Second, I see Mr. Kramer from Maddock Road is in the audience, and he's probably going to come up during public comment to speak about paving on Maddock Road. So I'll give you a little background first. Maddock Road was last paved in 2012, and it's currently rated at 35 in our rating system. That was done in 2022. Currently, we are working on roads that are rated between 13 and 15. So Maddock Road is pretty far down the list. However, I do agree with Mr. Kramer, and another resident also brought it to my attention, some areas of the road are pretty bad. Public Works did do some patching on it a couple of years ago to try to extend the life a little bit. It's not a good candidate for the county paving assist program because they want something they could do, get in and out in a day. And I discussed with Herb some reviewing our rating system. He advises that it's good for about 8 years, and if we want to do a review now, it would be about $10,000. But and Maddock Road probably would be derated a little bit because it is deteriorating faster. However, some other roads also will be derated too. So to put that into perspective.
And how long ago did you say we did our rating system?
2022.
2022, and it should last 8 years. Okay,
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Seeberger?
Good evening, everyone. Two quick items. The Denau Road Improvement Project is currently out to bid. We'll be taking bids on that April 2nd, and that is the Township's 2024 DOT Local Aid Grant Road. It's going to include curb work, sidewalk replacement where necessary, guardrail improvements, and then finally milling and an overlay. And it's from Van Brunt Road out to Route 31. So that's good that that'll be getting done. The other thing is the Pennington-Titusville Road, Scotch Road intersection is up and running. Looks good. The advanced warning signs, which are the permanent signs that warn of the new stop, they'll be up for 6 months. And the variable message signs will be up for approximately 6 weeks to let everybody know of the new traffic patterns there.
Just drove through it on my way here, and it is very clear and well marked, so thank you for that.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Good.
And is that amount of time of the 6 months is that best practice standard time?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Mr. Goodell?
Well, I can report that we are deep into the affordable housing process. We had a settlement conference with Judge Jacobson last week. She has scheduled a session for this week, and so, as you know, some of you are involved, and we are among the first towns to go through the process, and everything is still up in the air at this point.
Thank you. Ms. Troutman?
Thank you. I just wanted to let you know that that on March 7th, we had filed our annual financial statement, which meets the deadline set forth by the local finance notice issued by the state. So we're all good on that, and that we're just continuing to work on the budget.
Thank you. Ms. Fenton Newman?
I wasn't sure if you wanted me to announce that we're moving our April 7th meeting to April 14th.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay, so I've announced it. And that's all I have.
Good thing I wanted you to announce it. Okay, now we'll move to committee reports, starting with Mr. Ruger.
Nothing for me tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Perendre?
Okay, nothing special, I just want to...
Sorry.
Yes, thank you. Just wanted to repeat myself from last meeting that we are giving away the tree seedlings on April 6th, scheduled from 10:30 to 1, and it's going to be first come, first serve. So, that's a good thing. Township restarted it again, and I'm very proud of the Environmental Commission who lead this, and our Township Administrator who helped to make this happen. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. It's a great opportunity. Deputy Mayor?
I'll just note that the first quarter issue of the Town Crier started hitting mailboxes today. So enjoy, though, if you are in the room here today, you're probably someone that is already in the know of what's going on in the township.
All right, thank you. And I have nothing to report tonight, so we will move to our public comment section. So if you would like to speak, please come to the podium, state your name, where you live, and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. If you're on Zoom, please raise your hand, and Ms. Fenton-Newman will call on you.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Glenn Gabby. I'm the owner of, I live at 16 Bittersweet Lane, Clifton Park, New York. But I own the
Can you put your microphone, just push the button. Has to turn green.
My name is Glenn Gabby. I live at 16 Bittersweet Lane in Clifton Park, New York. I'm the owner of 2554 Pennington Road, and I've appeared here before this committee when we first got approval for having a cannabis store. I just want to make sure that if what we had to go through with the planning board, that if they're going to do that, they should also be going through the planning board. Because the planning board specifically said, when they created the zones that would allow cannabis dispensaries, that they didn't want them to be clumped together. The application from whatever this store name is, or changed to, is less than 1/10 of a mile from mine. Now, that may or may not have any bearing, but I've been a township taxpayer for 44 years, and my feeling about it is what we had to go through with the traffic study, parking space assessment, lighting inspection, environmental impact, signage requirements, septic approval, that anybody that was doing the same thing should really go through the same steps that we did. And that was all because of the planning board getting their approval. And I think it was actually even Kevin who said something at the planning board about not allowing a zone of cannabis dispensaries. That's my concern, and I really feel like if another one is approved, it should really go through the same process that we did in getting their approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Hello. My name is Jordan Brusiloff. I am the general manager of Pure Blossom, also at 2554 Pennington Road. My main concern tonight is the proximity of dispensaries in this area. Jersey Meds in Pennington operates 1.9 miles away from Pure Blossom. This location would be the third location within that radius. I know that we touched on competition tonight, which I do feel is healthy, but when we opened up our store, there were close to 70 dispensaries in New Jersey. That number is closer to 200 today. With that being said, I know that there is a moratorium right now. I am inclined to ask that that is exercised.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Just come on up. Oh, yeah, of course.
Hello. My name is Sandy Beruti. I live on Hopkinson Court. You know, as all of us going around that circle several times, sometimes several times during a day, that too, I feel the same way regarding the clumping of it and just the proximity of it. You know, there's a lot of changes going on around here, obviously with all the building, new people coming in, this. It just feels like it's almost too much at once, and I don't feel that we would need a second one within 1/10 of a mile of Pure Blossom, which, you know, I know that they went through everything that they needed to go through to get the permits and get everything up and running. It's a wonderful store. They're great community partners, and they operate a very wonderful operation over there. So I agree with what they're saying as well, that they would need to go through all the same processes and channels as the others did. And the fact that it's the same ownership practically, it's almost just down the road, feels like it would be more of like a monopoly on that, you know, to that group anyhow. So that's just my thought.
Thank you. There's anyone else? Oh, I think Ms. Arena is going to speak, and then you're next.
Joy Arena, Sioux Road. I'm here on a totally different topic, nothing to do with any of this stuff. I'm here about the tax assessments compliance plan and my dislike of it. My neighborhood has been reassessed for the third time since 2020. And I don't think it's fair, this compliance plan, because it goes off of sales and stuff. And other areas that don't have sales haven't gotten adjusted. Everyone's property value has gone up, not just my neighborhood. So in those few years, I've gone up almost $30,000 in increases due to the compliance plan because we've had sales in our neighborhood. I don't think it's fair. I think we need another way. Thank you.
Thank you for having me tonight. I appreciate it. My name is Donald A. Kramer. I live at 12 Maddock Road. Have done so for the last 42 years, paying taxes to the township over all those years. I come before you because I've had a long dialogue with our township administrator and also municipal works director, Mr. Snyder, regarding the condition of Maddock Road. And that pursuant to your 2022 study, which I passed out to you tonight, I don't know if you've had this chance to look at it. It's the one that has a colored circle on it with the pie charts. It shows that Maddock Road is rated serious. Now, serious is one step above failure on your chart that's been put together for the township. We're 35 properties in that serious category and 8 in failure. And it's been that way since 2022, and it's only gotten worse since then. The township budget this year is put to bed. I know that, and so do the people that live on Maddock Road. It's probably put to bed already, but I'm looking for future budgets to include that Maddock Road be paved again. It was last done in 2013, and since 2013, Maddock Road has become a sort of a flyby between Bear Tavern and River Road. People have discovered us. When I first moved in 42 years ago, the only thing I heard over there was cows mooing. Now I hear cars running by my house every 5 minutes. So there's more cars that are trafficking Maddock Road now today. And what I'm asking for is if something becomes available, the budget is put together, I'm sure, and if it isn't, maybe there is a chance. But if something is waylaid, maybe another road doesn't get done this year, maybe Maddock Road can get done this year. But I'm also asking for the priority that in the meantime, if it doesn't get done, that George and his crew and whoever else they hire to do it can do some patching on the road. The road is the base of the road is terrible. It's not susceptible really to patching because it just breaks up very easy. And the people who probably did it the last time didn't put a good base in, and George and I have discussed that in the past too. So I'm asking that maybe we give a consideration to Maddock Road, and if you're haven't been down that side of the town recently, maybe you should take a ride down, see what you can see. There's an entryway from Bear Tavern. As you go up the little rise there in Bear Tavern, that part of that road is the worst, probably. And some of it could be county, some of it could be us, but probably it's mostly us. It's falling apart. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you tonight, and if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them. And if anybody has a question, I would be here to answer your questions.
Thank you very much.
None? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Richard Fletcher, 24 Orchard Avenue. I counted the houses on Creston Orchard, Plymouth, and Beach. There's 80 houses total. I did go over to Ewing Lawrence Sewer. Hopewell didn't pay in the $300,000 or whatever it was so many years ago, I got told by the executive director. So it's not up to them to say whether we can get sewers or anything like that. It's up to this committee. If a contractor's doing stuff in the area, like Andorado's property, to get sewers, we were told they cannot tie into Brandon Farms, but Andorado's property is tying into Brandon Farms. Both these streets run downhill towards Brandon Farms. It's all gravity fed. to it. All I'm asking is look into it. It's a way for contractors to do improvements in the area. As we know with Lennar over on Diverty, we got the bare minimum on Diverty Road. So I'd appreciate, I've been here for years coming up and asking about sewers. The other thing is at 26 or 22 Orchard, they allowed the porta potty to sit right out front. I think the Township Construction and Health Department should have some type of ordinance or law on that, stating that porta potties, just like a septic system, can't be built within 50 feet of a well. That porta potty fell over less than 20 feet from my well, less than 15 feet from their well. Chemicals and all are in the ground now. So that could have, I'm going to be testing the well, could contaminate my well and stuff like that in the area. So if they put it 50 feet away, it gives it a little bit more barrier, like a septic tank or something like that. That's something you guys need to look into. 26 Orchard, I tried to say it last week or 2 weeks ago before I ran out of time. The contractor there has been great, cleaned everything up every time when he was doing demo. They're waiting for permits, having some issues here with the township to get permits to build this house. But everything he's done otherwise, he even told me, Rick, I'm sorry about the porta potty, I didn't think of that. We'll move it behind the garage when we bring it back. It blew over with the wind we had a couple weeks ago. 22 Orchard, I brought that up last week, how a bathroom was put up. I have a picture I can show you, up in an upstairs closet. I don't know how anybody can get in it. The door's only this wide. It's on Zillow, so it's on public record. They're renting the house out. The other thing with that house, it's had no permits. Nobody from construction's gone in there. I was told unless they can see it from the street, they can't do anything about it. A main beam was taken out in the kitchen and the wall opened up and a 2x4 put up. It's starting to crack. No fire alarms. Like I said the last time, 10 people were living in that house. Is that what this township needs? 10 people died because no fire alarms, no nothing. This township did no inspections. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Thank you very much. My name is Mike Passaro. I'm the Policy Director for the Watershed Institute. I want to thank the committee for putting the Resolution D on the agenda, entering into the study of the Stony Brook. I want to thank the Hopewell Township professionals for getting us here. Hopewell has been engaged in a process since the beginning of 2022, meeting with the towns of the Stony Brook, talking about shared issues, shared solutions, talking about flooding and water quality. And that has really been an amazing process, seeing the towns come together to talk. And then when the new MS4 permit came out in 2023, this opportunity arose to meet the requirements of the permit, not just to meet them, but to do it in a very efficient, effective way that will hopefully lead to a better product, will actually lead to reducing of flooding in of our communities, protecting our residents from flooding, and hopefully improving water quality. I think this process is going to be way more effective than if each town went on its own and did its own study without regard to what the other towns thought or was deciding. And if this township, and I hope you do pass this resolution tonight, I think this process will actually be a model for the rest of the state. We have been talking to other counties, other towns, other regions about replicating it. Doing a regional approach is something the Department of Environmental Protection would prefer, in that we, again, will have a process that actually will result in improvements. So again, thank you very much. Thank you for the township's leadership over the last several years. And hopefully, again, you pass this resolution, and thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone on Zoom, Ms. Fenton-Newman?
No, Mayor, no one's on Zoom.
Last call. All right, seeing no one else in the room, I will close the public comment section and answer some of these questions. So thank you for all the comments about Pure Blossom. We will take all of, from the Pure Blossom team about the application, we will take all of that into consideration when we're talking about whether or not we're going to open up the applications again.
Could I just say?
Yes, please.
No matter what, if they got approval and if they got a license, they would have to go through the planning board process like anybody else.
Thank you. Yes, I should have mentioned that. And the rules are the rules, and we've already set the rules, and everybody is required to follow the rules. Ms. Arena, about the tax assessment compliance plan, I understand that's a lot to be reassessed 3 times since 2020. I don't want to put our tax assessor on the spot to address this right now, but we will look into that, and I will get back to you at another at the next meeting with a little more information on that. Natick Road, I believe Mr. Snyder addressed that at the beginning of the committee reports, but if you have anything you want to add
Yes,
to that?
Mayor. So the chart that was handed out to the committee, it's the number corresponding to the condition of the road is the number of roads, not the rating. So, for instance, there are 52 roads that are poor, 35 roads that are serious. So Natick Road is actually at number 35, and a rating is poor.
Okay, so it's actually in the light pink.
It's in the light pink, yes.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. We've talked a lot about sewers on Orchard Ave. It's actually not up to us whether we can connect to ELSA at Natick and Crest, or Orchard and Crest, excuse me. Mr. Goodell, would you like to give a 30-second on how difficult it is?
I can explain why Eldorado gets it and others don't. So Eldorado was part of our affordable housing plan. The collective developers in the affordable housing plan, U.S. Homes, Lennar, Woodmont, Eldorado, they all recognized that there was no automatic right for sewer service in Hopewell Township because we're not members of ELSA. So they knocked on ELSA's door and they said, we would like to pay for sewer service. ELSA said, we're not going to give it to you because we don't have capacity. We are full. By the time you get through with our obligations to Ewing and Lawrence, there's nothing left for Hopewell. So the developers collectively sued. After about 3 years of litigation, they settled. As part of that settlement, those developers agreed to pay a very large sum in the tens of millions of dollars to, in effect, buy additional capacity from ELSA for their projects, but not for any other projects. So you could say, based on that contribution to ELSA, ELSA was able to make improvements to their system to free up some extra space for affordable housing. The only reason that settlement took place was first because it was for affordable housing, and therefore a court was more likely to force ELSA to open up their system. And second, because they were able to agree on a number, a very large number. So unfortunately, even though that line's going to go right past your neighborhood, what ELSA would say is, unless there is a separate agreement with Hopewell to purchase more capacity, which again they say they don't have, we're not going to tie in. So according to that settlement agreement, the only way there is new capacity in Hopewell is if ELSA can certify that they've got capacity, and then if they do that, that Hopewell pay an amount of money to buy that capacity. The agreement that you're talking about from 2013 or so, that was an attempt by the township and its professionals to open the spigot to ELSA by once and for all recognizing all the neighborhoods that we thought could benefit from septic or from sewer because they had failing septics, and purchase the amount of capacity that all of those neighborhoods would then be able to tie in. Turned out it would have been a very expensive prospect for each individual homeowner, and some of them may not have wanted to do it, others would. At the end of the day, what happened was the township committee agreed to enter the contract. They would have had to float a bond to purchase the capacity. When you have a bond issue, the voters have a right to challenge that. And in our case, the voters of the township put it to a vote and voted it down, saying we don't want the township to borrow the money to buy purchase it from Elsa. So, and quite frankly, I think that the people in the neighborhoods had very mixed feelings, because they're the ones who would have benefited. So they're the ones who would have to pay most of the money for the bond as well. And there was no unanimity among them. So that's why Eldorado gets sewer and you don't, even though it seems to be going right past you.
Thank you, Mr. Goodell, for that very thorough and explanation of ELSA. It is always complicated whenever ELSA is involved in Hopewell Township, so thank you. Mr. Snyder, we talked about following up with the health department for 26 Orchard. Can we just make sure that that happens? And also, does anybody know if there are safety valves on porta potties? What happens if a porta potty falls over? No, I think safe porta potty regulations are probably
right on top of
above our, but it's an excellent suggestion. I'm sorry that happened on your property. So, okay, that's public section. Will we move on to the rest of the agenda? For those of you that were here for the presentation, you're welcome to stay for the rest of the agenda, but we will not be offended if you are not interested in our minutes and our consent agenda and the rest of it. So thank you all for coming. Thank you. So next we have the minutes submitted for approval. We have the special budget meeting of February 10th, 2025, the special budget, regular and executive meeting minutes of March 3rd, 2025. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Minutes are adopted. We have, if you could, would you mind if you're going to have a conversation, if you could do it in the hallway, we'd appreciate it. Tonight we have one ordinance for introduction and first reading. It is a bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Hopewell in the County of Mercer, New Jersey, appropriating $6,177,332, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $5,402,000 bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof. May I have a motion, please?
I'll move it.
Second. So this is our introduction of our capital budget in 2025. We, several years ago, developed the practice of adopting our capital budget before our regular budget so we can get out ahead of other towns in terms of paving and some of these capital projects, and we tend to get better pricing. So I will turn that up to Ms. Troutman after I mention that the very first item is improvements for the technology in this very building, which is a very good appropriate for this evening. Ms. Troutman.
Yep, so thank you. So this ordinance, the contents of this ordinance were developed from our multiple budget meetings that we've had. One of the concepts we had is that we wanted to make sure and ensure that we're always going out for funds at a lower amount than we paid off the year before, so that we're not bringing on more debt than we paid off. So that is just the highlight of the philosophy. So this is basically, as you said in the title, it's a little over $6 million. It does contain a down payment of 5% minimum of $284,000. It also contains a road project which would be utilizing DOT grant funds.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee? Again, this is just the introduction and first reading. We will have a full hearing at the next meeting. Anyone?
No, I think the only thing that's probably worth noting for people who don't watch committee meetings all the time is to understand the process that we go through to get here, where we do have numerous meetings that take place, not just with not just among staff, not just with Ms. Troutman and particularly Committee Member Kaczynski, but also the meetings that take place publicly that occur before this meeting. So yes, it is a long process to go through, and we do go through all these items one by one.
Indeed. Thank you. Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Committee Member Purandari?
Yes.
Committee Member Ritter?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Che?
Yes.
Mayor Peters Manning?
Yes.
This ordinance has been introduced on the first reading and will be published in the newspapers. The second reading and public hearing date will be set for April 14th.
Thank you. Now we'll move to our consent agenda. We have A, a resolution authorizing refund of permit fee. B, a resolution authorizing refund for a zoning permit application overpayment, Block 18, Lot 12. C, a resolution authorizing refund for a zoning permit application overpayment, Block 46, Lot 55. D, a resolution accepting the resignation of the patrol officer in the police department, Ryan Morash. E, a resolution accepting the resignation of the patrol officer in the police department, Ryan T. Ludwig. F, a resolution accepting the retirement of Peter Buchanan in the municipal construction office. G, a resolution authorizing the tax assessor to act as agent for the Township of Hopewell for the purpose of filing and settling tax appeals on behalf of the taxing district for the tax year 2025. H, a resolution approving the application of the Hopewell Valley Central High School, PTO, to conduct a 5K run walk on March 22nd, 2025 at Central High School. I, a resolution approving the application of the SUDC Foundation to conduct Miles for Malcolm 5K. J, a resolution directing the Hopewell Township Zoning Officer to issue a temporary activities permit to Hope Rises Up, Catherine Fulmer Hogan, for Transgender Day of Visibility event at the Hopewell Township Municipal Building. May I have a motion for the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Consent agenda is adopted. Now we have resolutions. A, a resolution to authorize the award of a required disclosure contract with A1 Limousine, Inc. for community recreation trip transportation services. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Mr. Snyder.
This is an annual award of a contract for transportation services for various recreation department trips. The cost shall not exceed $30,000, and this is a pay-to-play resolution that is required since the quote is over $17,500.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Resolution is adopted. B, a resolution rejecting submittals for CC number 25-02, grants writing services, Township of Hopewell. May I have a motion, please?
So move.
And a second.
Second.
Mr. Snyder.
The township went out to bid for grant writing services, received 7 bids. 2 of them had fatal flaws because the ownership requirement documentation was not included, so the bids had to be rejected.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Resolution passes. C, a resolution awarding CC number 25-02, grants writing services to the Aubrey Group LLC in a fair and open manner. May I have a motion, please?
So move.
Second.
Mr. Snyder.
For the grant writing services, the township received 5 other bids, and we formed an evaluation team to assess each bidder based on their technical, managerial, and cost proposals. The Aubrey Group received the highest score, and the team recommended awarding a contract to Aubrey Group.
Thank you. And I'd like to give Ms. Perndare a little shout out because she really was the driving force behind us hiring a grant writing firm, and it's already paid off. They've already secured us some grants. So thank you for your insistence on that and convincing the rest of us that that was something we needed to do.
Yeah, again, thank you. I appreciate the township staff helping to actually make it happen, interview multiple grant writing, and the committee we all discussed, and I'm glad to see this actually it's paying off for us.
Yes, me too.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments from the committee?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Resolution passes. D, a resolution authorizing professional services agreement in a non-fair and open manner, One Water Consulting Inc. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
This one is for you, Mr. Pizarro. Mr. Snyder.
The Stony Brook Watershed Institute proposed a comprehensive plan to manage stormwater entering the Stony Brook watershed. The proposal, the total funding for the proposal is $249,300, with the cost allocated among Mercer County municipalities based on the size of their respective areas within the watershed. The municipalities include Hopewell, Pennington Borough, Lawrence, and Princeton. And the proposal is for plan development and project recommendations.
Thank you. And thank you to the Watershed Institute for bringing us all together. I think when you look at stormwater from a more holistic perspective, I think you always get better results. And when we all work together, better things happen. So thank you very much for your leadership and the Watershed Institute's leadership on this. Any questions or comments from the committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Resolution is adopted. E, a resolution extending the 2025 budget introduction and adoption dates. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Ms. Troutman.
So this is a resolution that would be new in front of this committee. We haven't had to adopt a resolution like this before, even though we've always, over the past few years, we've had the practice of adopting or introducing our budget after a March 31st date or the next regularly scheduled meeting. But as the local finance notice came out, issued by the local finance board, there was a paragraph in it that stated if we wanted to avail ourselves of the extended budget dates, we needed to pass a resolution stating that we were going to use the practice of introducing our budget by March 31st or the next scheduled meeting.
Okay, so we're just following the rules.
We are following the rules.
Okay, understood. Any questions or comments from the committee? Roll call, please.
Committee Member Pirandare?
Yes.
Committee Member Ruger?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chait?
Yes.
Mayor Peters Manning?
Yes.
And the resolution passes.
Thank you. F, a resolution establishing a temporary capital budget. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Ms. Troutman again.
Since we do have the practice of introducing our capital budget prior to the adoption of our municipal budget, we need to include a temporary capital budget until we have the adopted budget. So this resolution is a mimic of the ordinance. It contains all of the same document of the items, dollar amounts. It details the total amount, the down payment amounts, but we need to include this as a part of our temporary capital budget.
Understood. Any questions or comments from the committee? Roll call, please.
Committee Member Pirandare?
Yes.
Committee Member Ruger?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chait?
Yes.
Mayor Peters Manning?
Yes.
And the temporary capital budget passes.
And I'd like to move the next 4 resolutions together, if that's okay, Mr. Goodell, because they are all increasing temporary budgets. Okay. G, a resolution for an emergency temporary appropriation. H, a resolution for an emergency temporary appropriation in the water utility budget. I, a resolution for an emergency temporary appropriation in the ELSA sewer utility budget. And J, a resolution for an emergency temporary appropriation in the SBRSA sewer utility budget. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Ms. Troutman.
So I will explain each of these in one explanation as well. So as we just were talking about the extension of our dates, these 4 resolutions will, what I did was took a look to see like what our temporary budget would need to be through the month of May, through the adoption of our budget as a foreseen date. If anything comes up that's wild and crazy, we may need to do this again, but as of right now, this should be the last time that we need to increase our temporary budget until we have an adopted budget in place.
Great, thank you. I know we talk about this every year, how it's really not an emergency, but that's
It is
just
not an emergency,
the title.
it's just the title,
yeah.
correct.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee?
They need to be voted on individually, I think.
We have to make sure that there's 4 votes for each.
Yes.
Well, let's try, and if there's not, we'll do it again. Ms. Fenton Newman, could you please call the roll for resolutions G, H, I, and J together?
Committee Member Pirandare?
Yes.
Committee Member Ruger?
Yes for all 4.
Deputy Mayor Chait?
Yes.
And Mayor Peters Manning?
Yes.
And all 4 of those pass.
Thank you. Finally, we have bills and claims, resolution K. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Ms. Troutman, anything unusual?
I just want to point out that this includes the April school payment as well as our annual appropriation for pension payments.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee? Roll call, please.
Committee Member Pirandare?
Yes.
Committee Member Ruger?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chait?
Yes.
Mayor Peters Manning?
Yes.
The resolution passes.
All right, thank you. So that brings us to our second public comment section of the evening. If anyone would like to speak, same rules as last time. If you're on Zoom, please raise your hand.
Richard Fletcher, 24 Orchard Avenue. Steve, thank you very much for explaining that. I appreciate that. Is there, maybe you can give me some type of knowledge, because it's I've lived in this house 65 years of my 65 years. I bought it off my parents. But is there anything that will ever, because we're not in with Ewing Lawrence, that will put sewers down that street? A lot of these houses had we're on our second septic there already. The ground can only take so much. And if they fail, what do you do then? If my well gets contaminated because of this other, what do I do then? But is there, since I've been coming here years, you all know it, no idea how to get this fixed. Like I said, I even went out and talked to the executive director out there the other day. It was supposed to be a finance meeting. They're trying to figure out how they're getting the money from Hopewell to Ewing to them, and the amount of stuff and all we talked about. But he was really nice out there at Ewing Lawrence Sewer Authority, the gentleman was. But I'm just curious on that. The owner took the paper off the door. The health department did come down after the last meeting, so thank you for talking to them. She's real nice from the health department, came down, put a note on the door for all the garbage that they left. They left a big paint can that's open for rain to go in and overflow. But nothing's been done to clean the mess up at 26 Orchard. Again, like I say, anything you could do to help 22 Orchard out with permits and stuff, I don't know. They're going through a runaround with engineering and stuff like that is what I'm told from the township. But that owner's been top notch. Garbage picked up, had a dumpster there. His guys were great, very polite. No blasting of music or anything. Beside the porta potty, everything was good. Okay. All right, and that's, like I say, nobody always dots the I's or crosses the T's until you hear it after something happens, then we know what's going on there. But if there's any way, anything I got to do to help out or anything to try to get sewers, or something run or something planned for down the road, I counted all the houses on both streets all the way from 90 or 31 all the way down. There's 80 houses.
Thank you.
On all 4 streets. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Is there anyone on Zoom, Ms. Van Newman?
No, Mayor, there isn't.
Okay, so with that, I will close the second public comment section. I am hesitant to ever say never for sewers, but I don't know of anything in the future that would, in the near future anyway, that would allow us to put sewers on Crescent Orchard just for the reasons that Mr. Goodell said. If there's a failing septic system, and somebody is not within striking distance, like what would happen if somebody anywhere in the township has a failing septic system? Yeah, the health department. I think that would be for the health department. But fortunately, it doesn't seem like you're quite in that situation yet. So knock on wood, your septic system will stay healthy. I'm glad that the health department followed up with 26 Orchard. Mr. Snyder, can you make sure that they continue to